My name is Martin, and I channel the energies of Jesus and Mary. Their message is always one of unconditional love and non-judgment. Every week here in this beautiful chapel in my home in Pueblo, Colorado, I offer online channeling sessions. After a prayer and a brief meditation, I allow the energies of Jesus and Mary to come through and answer the questions that the participants pose. There are no rules and no question is off limits. This video contains a question from a participant who asks whether he is deluding himself because of his faith. Let's see the answer that Jesus and Mary gave to him. Question: I've heard a lot about the power of fantasy and imagination and just being willing to believe in things, even if you might not have evidence for those things. Is it ever possible that someone is deluding themselves rather than having faith in something? Because sometimes I find myself fantasizing and believing in things, and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel good. But at the same time, I always wonder in the back of my mind, am I just deluding myself? And even if I am, is that okay because it makes me feel better? Answer from Jesus and Mary. Well, the delusion is in the eyes of the beholder. When we encourage you to fantasize, to dream, to daydream, we are encouraging you to put yourself in a position where you feel the pleasure and the joy and the delight. What you say, that you feel good even if, according to you, you are deluding yourself, that feeling good is where we want you to be, because that is a receptive mode to connect with us and energize all the vibrations that are necessary to realize what you are dreaming, what you are wanting. Now, this is all very unspecific. It is tentative. It is a feeling. It is a desire. Start out by not being too specific, because once you start getting into the specifics, that introduces resistance, because your mind wants to start figuring out how it's going to happen, and your mind will only look at what's around you, what you can see right now. Your mind will say, well, I can't see that, and so that's not going to happen. You're deluding yourself. You're talking yourself into something that's not going to happen. So we encourage you to get the essence of your dream, the essence of your desire, without specificity. In other words, I would like to travel to Europe, just as an example. I would like to travel to Europe. I'd like to see France. I'd like to see the Eiffel Tower. I'd like to visit that site. I'd like to see the Alps in Switzerland. I'd like to do all of this. But you're not going to say, by next March or by next April, I'm going to buy myself a ticket to Switzerland, whether I have the money or not. When you start getting into the specifics of how and when and the details, that introduces resistance. And that's what you're feeling. You're feeling, oh, I know that's not true. But as long as you keep it in the dream and as a fantasy, someday it's going to be possible for me. Right now I can't see how it's going to be, but it doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, because time flies. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the dream. I'm going to learn about Switzerland. And so stay away from the specifics. Stay away from the resistance. And don't put limitations that are going to define a failure. Set yourself up for failure. Just desire it and want it and put it out there and believe that it's going to happen. Follow-up question. We've been trained as young children to get your heads out of the clouds and come back down to earth, come back down to reality. Daydreaming is discouraged among children growing up, at least in Western society. Is there any harm that we may do to ourselves by getting lost in daydreams or getting lost in thought? No, that's where we want you to be. That's where you're supposed to be. That is true happiness. Many times people have dreams, for example, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be an actor. Many people that accomplish these dreams often find that they're not happy once they reach them. Many people in Hollywood commit suicide because the life that they thought was going to be so great had so many strings attached that they didn't think about at the time. And they're not happy, and they even take their own lives. So the happiness is not in the accomplishment. The happiness is not in reaching the goal. The happiness is in the joy that you feel fantasizing about it, so you have found the key to happiness. Now, we're not saying that you should just keep your head in the clouds all the time, but you're not a child either anymore. You are an adult, and you have learned that one of the most important things in life is balance. You have to stay grounded, but you are grounded. Many meditation methods encourage the person to envision their feet reaching down into the ground and then reaching up into the heavens. It's a balance. It's not either or, it's both. So daydream, fantasize. Don't really limit yourself. And we see the joy that you receive, and we encourage you. We also thank you for this question because it answers this question for other people. And it's true that many adults try to squash the imagination in children, and yet they'll turn right around and tell them that Santa Claus is going to come down every chimney in this world in one evening. So this idea of don't dream or don't fantasize can often be very selective. You are no longer a child. Now you are an adult and you have every right. You are a very spiritual person. You are very much connected to us. Your higher self is very, very much connected. And whenever you see something that isn't right, you pick up on it. You know intuitively. The reason you brought the question is because you have already known the answer inside. And we wanted you to bring the question out because it helps. It helps others as well. So thank you. For information on how to participate in an online channeling session, visit Channeling with Jesus and Mary at meetup.com. For information on this ministry, visit jesusmary.org. Comments have been disabled for this video, but please feel free to send questions or comments to info@jesusmary.org. Thank you for watching.